Hello friends, it's Laku here. Small changes to my wave build. I recently saw a video from Bron showing him using a double proccing static angels in his wave build, which was an interesting thing to see because before that I had just had some discussions about maybe trying it out at some point, and it made me think like, okay, we are still waiting for the next update to eventually come, so why should I not give it a go as well and see how it goes? Does it work for me and so on? So in this video we'll go through the results of that, like what you need to do in order to achieve this. Can the angels do anything? And also like what are my thoughts? Do I like them? Should you try them out? And so on. And I will also show another kind of a demonstration about the angels, because it's really hard to see how many angels there actually are on the screen when you are using this method. Because first of all, you will need to use the teleport promotion for this to work. If you use the other promotion, it will not work. So you will have to use the left promotion of angels if you want to try this out. The method, what you need to do in order to do this is to have your angels cooldown to be lower than your pure visage cooldown. That's what double proccing means. It means like every time, like by the time your pure visage is cast, you will have double cast of the angels. So that means you have like 20 angels basically per one summon. It's actually 2 summons, but yeah, that's how it works. You kind of have to double the amount of angels. And in order to achieve this, you will need to have double cooldown items for your angels. Now, the better items you have on your pure wizard, the better items you will also need to have for your angels. So I have double cooldown sword in here. Sadly, it's not a cooldown skill level +1 sword, but this one on the other hand is a double cooldown with a CDE line with some attack speed runes in here. The damage line unfortunately in here is not doing anything, neither is the knockback line, because well, they are just level 10,000. For me that's a very low level. They don't do any damage based on their level, so all of the damage that they potentially do in this setup comes from this orb. So the static orb deals damage based on the maximum HP of the enemy, so it like scales with your waving basically infinitely. You don't really have to level the angels for this one, and usually you can like use the static orb also on slingers and stuff like that. It's an extremely great option for slingers as well. But the static orb, and preferably you would like to have a 1.0%, so the max roll of static orb if you can. I still have to reroll this eventually to the max roll, but 0.9 is just enough. They are set to target the boss. The boss targeting is usually not that great, but for this method to work, they only do damage against bosses. Against the normal monsters, they basically do nothing. In terms of like, of course they do a little bit damage, but it's not meaningful in any way, so they only need to damage the bosses in this build. So that's why they are using the boss targeting for this one. I would not recommend that for basically any other unit for your waving build. Then it comes down to the second question: do they deal damage with this setup? And when we take a look at the analysis, if we just take a look at the overall damage output of all of the units, well, it's not quite a lot of damage. 4% of the damage done, 3% of the damage done per wave. But if we go and take a look at the damage done to bosses, again, they are only meant to target the bosses basically in this setup with this method. So in here, they are doing 10% of the damage to bosses while being on level 10,000. That's pretty decent. And 10% is kind of a low wave for them. So here they are doing 16% on this previous wave, and here they are doing 13% damage. So basically for me, they are usually doing something like between 10 and 20% boss damage. It's really kind of depends wave per wave, kind of depends on the overall procs of your units and so on. So depends on the wave, they can do 10% or they can do 20% damage. So that's definitely some boss damage. 20% is a lot. It makes them, in here for example, as you can see, it makes them the second highest boss damager for this wave, outranking a lot of units that are way higher than their level. So yeah, sure, they can do a lot of boss damage, that is true. And now I'm also gonna show you a little demonstration, because as I said, you will be getting double the amount of angel, but it's extremely hard to see because they are teleporting, they are so fast during the wave on 3x game speed especially. So I'm just gonna temporarily use the other promotion. Again, this promotion, the non-teleport promotion, is not great for your waving, so for this method don't use that. You will need to teleport once, but I will do this to show exactly, like you can see better this way how many angels there are. So right now, when angels come off cooldown, they will be cast, pure wizard will be cast right after, and the angel will be cast again. So in here again, you will see there's 20 angels spawning as soon as they get on sync after the start of the wave. So 20 angels for each cast. So that's a lot of angels. You can have, like, as you can see in here, temporarily 3 stack of angels on the field unless they get killed by some sort of attack. So temporarily, again, they are teleporting, so they are super fast as well. So you will have, what, 60 angels on screen at the same time. So that's a lot of summoned units. That's a lot of angels. So that's basically where all the damage is, because all of them deal, for each normal attack they deal 0.9% damage to the boss's HP. So that times 60, that can equal a lot of boss damage done. Now in this wave that we just did, of course, they did absolutely nothing because we used the wrong promotion and it was like a 30 skip, so they barely had time to touch the bosses at all. But you see the results previously, you will need to use the teleport promotion for this to happen, but that gives you an idea of just how important it is to double proc the angels for this, to get the double the amount of angels. Well then, what are my thoughts? I've been running them for like 2 days now just to see how it goes. And can they do damage? Yes. Is the build stable? Yes. Is the build faster than before? I mean, for me, for this setup particularly, there's no clear difference between the wave speed with using the double proc static angels and using the previous setup where I just had Dark Ice Wizard in that spot basically. So there's no clear difference for me for this setup with the angels, but sure, because they can do damage, they can help with some bad waves where you have bad cooldowns and so on in terms of killing the bosses. Just because they are not faster for me doesn't mean they might not be faster for you potentially. So I would say if you have the items to pull it off, and you are at the wave level where you of course have level 10,000 angels and you have the static orb with decent roll, you can give it a go. You can try it out and see for yourself if that works. I think it's worth trying if you can fit the angels in your build. If you can't fit the angels in your build, then it's probably not worth if you can't sacrifice anything from your build. So basically I had to sacrifice Dark Ice Wizard. So I had to sacrifice some freezing, some crowd control in order to be able to fit the angels in my build. But definitely, like, if you have the double cooldown items for her and you can pull it off, give it a go and see how it goes. Also, if you do try them out or have tried them out previously, feel free to share your thoughts about it in the comments. It would be great thing to hear about your results as well, and I'm sure other people would be interested in hearing as well. And also, I would say, like, in very early game, or not in very early game, but in like when you are approaching to mid game, you are like at 200, 300, 400,000 waves in, and your angels reach that level 10,000 eventually. Even at that point, I would say, even if you can't double proc them, you can try them out with the static orb and see if that works. You can also try the static orb thunder towers as well at that point and just try out which one might work better for you. But at this stage, like on later game, if you wanna run the angels, if you wanna have them do something, you will kinda have to double proc them. Otherwise, if I don't do that, if I just use normal items with just CDE lines and some more attack speed maybe and stuff like that, it's just not enough. The damage is not there. So you will definitely need to double the amount of angels. But that's my initial thoughts. I think I will just keep on going with this now for a while, because why not? Until I can figure out like what other changes I want to make to my build. I will keep you guys updated, and I will also probably try to work on re-rolling that static orb to the max roll eventually. So feel free to share your own thoughts about this, and I will see you in the Discord as well. The link is in the description. Thank you. Have a nice day.